Biden opening a big lead. The latest Fox News poll showing the former vice president leading President Trump by 12 points nationally. The poll also shows that nearly 2/3 of Biden supporters are motivated by fear that the president will win re-election. Joining me now, former senior advisor to President George W. Bush, Fox News contributor, Karl Rove. Karl, great to see you, as always. That fear actually worked in President Trump's favor in 2016 when it was the reverse. More of those in 2016 backing Trump, 61%, than Hillary Clinton, said fear motivated them. What say you?
Yeah. Well, let's go to the whiteboard, if we will.
Bring it. Bring it.
I got two.
Okay.
So, look, I'm Fox poll, great, wonderful, thank you. I'm still dubious at this point of picking one poll. And so I look at the Real Clear Politics average, which has shown a deterioration in the president's position, now behind by 8.8. If you look at the polls that go into making that up, that average up, they range between a Biden lead of 7 and a Biden lead of 14. So Fox is on the upper edge of that. But nonetheless, the president has shown a deterioration in his standing. And let's be clear, the last time the president was tied was 30 polls ago on a poll issued on the 29th of April. The last time he led was in a poll that was issued on the 18th of February, an Emerson poll, in which he led by 2. So there is a reality to this. President is behind. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. On the other hand, the president has some advantages, and the question is going to be whether the president takes those advantages that he has and begins to do something in a systematic, deliberate, disciplined way to begin to turn those numbers around. First of all, he's president, and as a result, he gets to control the dialogue. And, for example, if the president puts his shoulder strongly behind passing a police reform bill and it gets done with Republicans and Democrats working together, that works to his advantage because he's the guy in charge. He maintains a strong lead on jobs and the economy. Even in these polls showing him behind Biden, people say that they believe that Donald Trump is better able to restore the economy than is Joe Biden. And that's going to be a big issue between now and the election day. And then finally, the president has the ability, if he focuses on it, and we'll see tomorrow night if he's going to begin to do this, to set up contrast between what he wants to do and what Joe Biden wants to do. And he has the ability to exploit Biden weaknesses, go at things that Biden has said or done that are problems. But you got to be disciplined, and we're going to see a hint in the weekend rally as to whether or not that's going to happen.
We'll stay on that in terms of Trump v. Biden. There's a push for more debates. The Trump campaign has tapped former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani to lead an effort to expand the number of presidential debates against Joe Biden. The president threatened to boycott all the debates last December over alleged bias. The Biden campaign speaking out against the move, saying we're not going to ride the roller coaster of the ever-changing Trump campaign position on debates, nor are we going to be distracted by his demands. What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, there are 137 days left between now and the election. This is not necessarily, I think, a winning issue to devote a lot of days to for the Trump campaign. Maybe they've done themselves a little bit of good by talking about this and making it clear that Joe Biden doesn't want more debates. But look, the Debate Commission is a quasi-independent group. It is a self-selected group. The board constitutes the following board. When you resign from the board replaces you. That has no influence by the outside. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they have signed an agreement for 3 presidential debates and 1 vice presidential debate. There is little to no chance, I'd say slim and none, that there's going to be an additional debate. If I were the president, I'd be spending my time. You've made your point. Move on now. Start making other points that in the 137 days left that are going to move people from being undecided or leaning towards Biden to moving them into your camp. This ain't one of them. And
then there's the book from John Bolton. So Bolton is fighting the Department of Justice over the book. Lawyers for the former National Security Advisor are claiming that the DOJ is in a restraining order is, quote, regrettable pretext designed to cover up what is in fact a determined political effort to suppress Ambassador Bolton's speech. I think there's a court hearing scheduled for later today. Karl, so don't you know from the outside looking in what President Trump is like? Why do these people go and work in the administration and then do this?
Well, that's a good question. In fact, it's one of the 2 or 3 questions that have popped up. He's being criticized from the left by saying, okay, if you thought, if he was so bad when you were in there, why didn't you speak out? And from the right, if you became convinced that he was unworthy of the job, why did you stay? And these are legitimate questions. There's always a problem with these kiss and tell books that come out while a president is in office. And that we've seen a couple of them, the problems there. Another problem is that it quickly deteriorates into a he said effort. For example, in the book, Ambassador Bolton makes certain claims about a meeting with President Xi of China,
right,
in which supposedly President Trump says, you got to help me in my election. And yet we have under oath in front of a House committee 2 days ago, the U.S. Trade Representative, Jim Lighthouser, who was in the same meeting, saying, I was there and that never took place. So, every administration has to go through a series of Bob Woodward books where Woodward gets people to tell him things that if you're serving inside the administration oftentimes don't appear to have any relationship to reality. This is a sort of a Bob Woodward book written by John Bolton. We're going to go through the same kind of controversies, and only time, the passage of time, years from now, are we going to be able to really definitively settle out whether some of these things are accurate when all the records come out.
Real quick, does it have any impact on the election at all?
No. If you liked Trump before, you're going to like Trump now. If you didn't like Trump before, you're going to not like Trump now. And again, to me, the key thing is how much time does the White House spend talking about this? 137 days. They get to drive home maybe at least 1, maybe 2 points for each one of those days. Is picking an argument with John Bolton going to be the thing that's going to sway people to him? I don't think so. Just like I don't think the book is going to sway people against the president.
Yeah, move along. Move along. Move along. Not you.
You bet.
You have a good weekend.
Thanks for having another person on who doesn't have an accent. I listened to those other guys, and they sounded like, I mean, it's only you and I. And happy Juneteenth to you from a fellow Texan.
Indeed. And do you think, so John Cornyn and the senators moving to make that a federal holiday, you think that happens?
It's been a holiday in Texas for many years because, as you may know, Juneteenth was declared in Texas. General Gordon Granger in Galveston in June of 1865. There had been no knowledge of the Emancipation Proclamation within Texas, so he released on this day a open address to the former slaves of Texas, telling them that they were free. And it's been a holiday in Texas, for an official state holiday, I think, for better than 3 decades.
I just hope that this focuses on our knowledge of history. Everybody needs to know more about our past, our present, which again gives way to our future. Karl Rove, thank you, sir.